So you've been thinking and maybe feeling that Hecate is calling you. Maybe you've done a little bit of research on her already. Maybe you've seen a few videos come up on your feed. Maybe you even saw my video on Hecate calling you. Now what? And now you've decided that, yes, she is calling you and you would like to work with her. So what now? I will tell you. Hi, I'm Roxanne, and this is the Gilded Raven channel. So welcome back if you are returning, and welcome to the channel if you are new. If you are finding this information helpful, please like and subscribe. That'd be fantastic. And now I will get into what you can do now once you've decided to follow Hecate. There are so many ways to get started working with her. Some are simple, some are a little bit more complex, and maybe a little bit more complicated. So I will start with the simpler things and work my way up to things that may be a little bit more complicated. So the first thing that I would suggest if you are new and wanting to work with Hecate is to read about her. There are a plethora of books out there, information online. So I would read everything you can. And if you're searching here on YouTube for content, there are a lot of folks out here who are talking about Hecate, but I will caution you on one thing. And that is, like, when I was first researching her back in 2017, I came across a lot of folks and witches that made her seem very, very scary. And they would say things like, she is not for new witches. If you don't have any experience working with any kind of deity, she is not the deity for you. She'll screw up your life if you don't know what you're doing, and just made her seem very scary and intimidating. You know, when I was coming into this witchcraft and working with deities in my 40s, right? I'm in my mid 50s now. So I also had a lot of conditioning that I was trying to deconstruct at the same time, that I was like, well, you know, I really believe she's calling me. And then I'm hearing all of this information. It was really super confusing. And like I said before, I made a video on that and I shared a little bit of my story, and I will link that up here somewhere for you so you can go and watch that after this. So first thing, read about her. Try to ingest all of the content that you can find about her, and not just in witchy spaces, but also like in Greek mythology. The second thing that I would suggest is to meditate on her. Like when you're meditating, if that is something that you do, you can come up with or think of questions that you want to ask her as you're meditating. That's one thing that I did. I found it extremely helpful, and I had some very vivid experiences during those meditations, and all of that confirmed to me that it was in fact Hecate that was calling to me. So what do we have now? We've got reading and research as the first thing that you can do. That's fairly simple. Meditation is fairly simple. I know some people, when it comes to meditation, they find it really difficult. And I did too, because I have ADHD, and trying to calm my brain down and quiet it down can be quite a lot. So this isn't going to be about meditation, but just really quick, one thing that you can do is focus on your breath. Like in for 2, out for 2, or in for 4, out for 4. Count your breaths. And then when I started doing that, then I would add things like in with the good, out with the bad, that kind of stuff. That's kind of how I got started with meditation. And then that led further me. Once I got that down, then I, in my meditations, would ask Hecate. I would talk to her during my meditations. Now, kind of tracking back a little bit to all of the terrifying things that I was finding about Hecate on YouTube and some people's videos on her. When I started working with her and really started reaching out and getting to know her, I found her very warm, very gentle, and very nurturing, which for me at the time was so nice because I was in the throes really of a very dark night of the soul. I was deconstructing a lot of things about religion and deities and a bunch of other stuff. This was a very transitional and pivotal period time in my life. And I had talked about that in that first video on Hecate also, so I'm not going to rehash that here. And I was still in my research and trying to, find out about her and whatever. And I stumbled across Dr. Cindy Brennan and her Facebook group, which she no longer has. She's moved off Facebook. She now has an online school. I haven't been a member of that for a number of years. It's called the Kavina Institute. But when I found Cindy Brennan, she also has the book Keeping Her Keys, and I found that super helpful. So I do advise getting that book, Keeping Her Keys, because it is fantastic and it helped me a lot. And it's not just about Hecate. Yes, it is Hecate influence, but it's been a while since I've read it. So, but I loved it and it helped me when I started. Okay, so you've meditated, you've got some books, you've done some reading, you've watched some YouTube videos. So now maybe you want to dedicate an altar to her. So I want to say you don't need to spend any money or very much money at all. You don't need to buy any fancy statuary. I know I did it, but I'm telling you, you don't need to. I think with the rise of social media and Instagram and all of these things, and we seeing all these beautifully aesthetic altars and all that, you don't need that. She doesn't really care about how pretty it is, especially if it's a working altar. So you don't need to spend any money or very, very little money. If you want like a physical representation of her on this altar that you're building for her, you can just find a picture of her somewhere online and print it out and put it on the wall or frame it and set it on the altar. Like, that's one thing that you can do. Let me see what else. I'm looking at my notes here too. So some other things that you can put on the altar if that's what you are feeling led to do. You can put keys. She is the keeper of the keys. And I can do a video more on that at another time. So like found keys, candles, you can get them easily at the dollar store. I mean, even little tea lights are fine. If you want to start giving her offerings, you can also get like offering plates at the dollar store or thrift them. You can find, I've found some of the coolest stuff thrifting that I've put on my altar over the years. So, other things that I have found black feathers. So I have put those on her altar, referencing the raven and crows that are often associated with her. Let me see, black, white, clear, red rocks / crystals. I have those on my altar and she seems to like them for me. So those are just a few things that you can use as you're getting started and if you have the space. So you don't need to spend a lot of money, just really simple things. And also, like, you can ask her what she wants too. So now if you've decided you've got your altar set up and you want to start giving her offerings, there are many ways that you can give her offerings. It doesn't always have to be just like a food offering, which I'll get into in a minute, but you can do things like volunteering at an animal shelter, preferably dogs. You can offer up to her any grief that you may have. That's something that I did for a good long time and still do. Like after my dad passed, I think for the first year after that, I was giving her my grief all the time. Physicality, like move your body. Whether you're working out, you can dedicate your workouts to her. You can go on a walk in the woods or not. You can dance and dedicate the movement to her. And I mention the movement of your body because she is also a goddess that is really big on sovereignty, which is you coming into yourself and owning yourself. And that means taking care of yourself and your body, and stepping into your power spiritually and physically. So that's why I bring up the movement, like moving your body and dedicating workouts and whatnot to her. You can also dedicate a specific candle to her and light that to her as an offering. Let me see, if you want to do food offerings, I can do a separate video on that if that's something that you guys are interested in, but I'll just go over a few things right now. Like you can garlic, just like a head of garlic on your altar, honey cakes. What I do to represent a honey cake, if I'm doing that, is get those little rice cakes and I put honey on it. That's what I do. She also likes for me dark chocolate and red wine. So those are just a few ideas. There are some things that historically were given to her, like fish is one thing that keeps sticking in my head because I don't like fish. So she's never gotten that from me. But there are like historical offerings that were left for her, and I can make another video about that if you guys are interested. If you are, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, those are just a few things that you can do if you want to start giving her offerings. It doesn't always have to be a physical offering. And also when you're meditating, ask her what she wants from you. She will let you know. And like I just mentioned, talk to her. Just in like, even if you're not meditating, just talk to her. There are times that I'm just driving in the car on the way to work and I'll have a conversation with her about whatever it is that's on my mind, asking for guidance or just letting her know what's going on in my daily. Another really good way to connect to her is observing the dark moon practice of dipnon, and I hope I'm saying that right. I have a video on that too, and I will link that up here as well, and that will kind of give you a little rundown on what dipnon is and how you can practice that if that's something you want to do. So I just want to reiterate that she is not scary or terrifying. I find her very comforting and helpful. I also find her a bit stern at times, but stern in a way like your mom has told you to clean your room 15 times and you still haven't done it, kind of stern. That's kind of how I find her. She is intense when you get serious about it. Like, I call myself a devotee. I am devoted to her. And when I get serious about my practice again and I recommit myself with doing the work that I need to do for myself, and do the healing and the changing and the shedding that I need to do, she can become pretty intense. And that's when things can get a little upsetting. In my Hecate's Calling Now What video, I likened her to Moldavite and the Tower card. I am no longer afraid of the Tower card because sometimes everything needs to be taken down to the foundation, and sometimes that foundation even needs to get ripped up so you can lay down a better foundation to build off of. Sometimes these things are necessary. That doesn't make them comfortable. It doesn't make it neat. So real healing and growth and progression, it's not neat. It is messy as hell, and it can be scary. So I just want to put that out there again. I think that might be where people are getting the she's so scary and will totally upend your life. if you're serious about working with her and being a devotee, she will move things out of the way that are keeping you from becoming your best self and doing the work that you need to do. She will remove those things, whether it be a job, a relationship, housing. Like, if something is keeping you from doing the things that you need to do working with her, if it's not in your best interest, and if it is holding you back, she will remove it. And my advice when that happens is to just take a breath, lean in, and know that on the other side of these things, life is going to be better. That has been my experience. So just kind of wanted to put that out there. And it's going to feel really, like I just said, it's messy. It's going to be uncomfortable. And, you know, you just need to lean into it. If you are not ready for that kind of intensity, if you are not really ready, and by ready, I mean being really honest with yourself about what you want and what you need and what you're trying to accomplish. If you're half-assing it, or if you're just doing it because everybody else is doing it and you don't really like mean it in your core, then yeah, it may not turn out well. But if you mean it and these things happen, just lean it. Life happens. Life happens. Crappy, shitty things happen all the time. And it is not... And we have to grow for them, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, and she will help you with that. With getting through those tough things. With getting through those scary things. She'll help you get through it. She will shine those torches and show you the path. It is then just up to you if you want to walk it. So that's all I have to say today about this. Be sure to subscribe if you found this information helpful or useful. Drop a comment below and let me know what your experiences have been with Hecate. If you have any questions, if you're new to Hecate or anything regarding this path, ask me below. I respond back to all of my comments. And until next time, see you guys later.